At exactly 3:30 a.m., the graveyard gates creaked open on their own. There was no wind, no animals, just a profound, heavy silence that seemed to press in from all sides. Among the weathered tombstones and sleeping dead, Emily stood alone. She knew she wasn't supposed to be here. This place was for memories, for grief, not for late-night visits driven by nightmares. But for the past week, the same dream had haunted her sleep. A girl, her cries muffled and desperate, coming from deep underground. The dream was so vivid, so real, that tonight it had finally led her here, to the very gates of the old cemetery. Her flashlight, a cheap thing she'd grabbed in a hurry, flickered erratically, casting dancing shadows that twisted the familiar shapes of trees and stones into monstrous figures. She held her breath and walked deeper in. Names on headstones passed by in a blur of gray, dates of births and deaths melting into one another. It was a city of the forgotten, and she was an unwelcome visitor. She pushed forward, the dream's pull undeniable, a strange magnetic force drawing her toward an unknown destination. Then she saw it. In a clearing set apart from the older graves was a patch of freshly turned earth. A new grave, but there was something wrong with it. No flowers adorned the mound, no candles flickered in memory. There was just a heap of wet, dark soil, as if it had been dug in a great hurry, and at its head, a simple, crude, wooden board was jammed into the ground. Carved into it was a single name, Emily Carter. Her breath hitched in her throat, catching like a sob. The air suddenly felt ice. "This isn't real," she whispered, the words barely audible, swallowed by the immense silence. Her onim. It had to be a prank, a sick, twisted joke. But who would do this? And why? She took a hesitant step back, her mind racing, trying to make sense of the impossible sight. Then she heard it. Knock. 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 The sound was soft at first, but distinct. It came from beneath the freshly dug grave, slow, rhythmic, and filled with a terrifying desperation. Her legs felt like lead, frozen to the spot. Her heart hammered against her ribs, a frantic drumbeat in the dead quiet. A voice followed the knocking, weak and broken, a rasping plea that seemed to tear through the very soil. "Please, don't leave me here." A scream tore from Emily's throat, raw and primal. She stumbled backward, tripping over an exposed tree root and landing hard on the damp ground. Panic seized her as the earth beneath the fresh grave began to shift. It wasn't a landslide, it was sinking, collapsing in on itself as if something from below was pushing its way out. The lid of the coffin, now partially exposed, cracked with a sharp splintering sound. Through the widening gap, fingers emerged. Bloody, broken fingers, nails torn and caked with dirt, clawing their way into the night air. And then a face appeared in the darkness of the broken wood. Her face. It was a perfect, horrifying reflection. The same wide, terrified eyes, the same faint scar just below the cheekbone, the same long, dark hair, now matted with mud and gore. The girl, the thing inside the grave, smiled a chilling, triumphant grin that didn't reach her eyes. "You're finally here," she said, and the voice was a twisted echo of Emily's own. "I was buried alive." The corpse, her dop, began to pull itself halfway out of the coffin, the movement jerky and unnatural, as say spookworms crawled from the corners of her mouth, dropping onto her tattered clothes. "One of us gets to leave." Emily finally found the strength to move. She scrambled backward, clawing at the wet grass, trying to put distance between herself and the nightmare unfolding before her. But as she did, the ground around her erupted. Hands burst out of the surrounding graves, pale and skeletal. They weren't reaching for her. Not yet. They just emerged, dozens of them, all female, their ghostly forms rising from the soil. They stared at her with empty eye sockets, and a collective whisper filled the air, a chilling chorus from a spectral choir. "Stay." They were gatekeepers, guardians of this unholy place, and they weren't letting her go. By morning, the sun rose on a peaceful, silent cemetery. The police, called in by a concerned neighbor who heard a scream, found the grave of Emily Carter. It was close to the soil but tied down neatly, as if it had never been disturbed. A scan later confirmed what they suspected. Inside, there was one body. Outside the cemetery gates, a girl was seen walking away as the first light of dawn painted the sky. She was covered in dirt, her clothes torn, but she was smiling, a wide, unsettling smile. She was wearing Emily's face, and every night since then, if you listen closely near that part of the cemetery, you can hear a girl crying from beneath the ground, a faint, desperate sound. She's waiting for someone else, someone drawn by a dream, to come and take her place. Thank you for listening. If you enjoy stories that explore the darker corners of the imagination, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. You never know what's waiting in the shadows.